All right, here we go, Algebra 1. Moving along, we're skipping 5.2, we're going to 5.3. Getting in this some real algebra here, working with equations. Today in 5.3 we're going to talk about slope-intercept form. Okay, and our essential question is, how do you write linear equations using the slope-intercept form? This is one of the most probably popular ways of you seeing equations like this, and probably the easiest way to graph them when they're in this form. What is a linear equation? It is x to the first power, and its graph is a straight line. Okay, notice here x is to the first power. Okay, as long as you have x to the first power, you're always going to graph a straight line, and that's what makes it linear. Okay, what is the y-intercept? The point where your graph crosses the y-axis. So if I had a graph here like this, and this is x and this is y, and we draw a line in here, that point right there where we cross the y-axis, that's our y-intercept. Okay? Slope-intercept form is this equation right here, y equals mx plus b. You may or may not have seen it before, but you're going to see it a lot from here on out. Through geometry, through Algebra 2, this is one of the most popular right here, most used. Our m in our equation is the slope. That represents our slope. Whatever number is the coefficient on the x, the number that's being multiplied with the x, that's our slope. Okay? And we like to think of it as a fraction because, as we learned in the last section, slope is rise over run. Okay, so we think of it as a fraction all the time. The b right here, and that's a b, y equals mx plus b, that's our y-intercept. That tells us the y-coordinate where we're crossing the y-axis. And then the x and y that are in here, those could be any point on the line. Okay, any point on the line whatsoever. So let's look at a couple different ways of finding our slope and y-intercept. Finding the slope and y-intercept when you're given the equation, y equals 5x minus 2. Very simply, the number being multiplied with the x, the coefficient on the x, 5, that's our slope. We could also think of that as 5 over 1. You can take any integer and write it over 1, and you've got a fraction. Negative 2 right here is our b. Just take the sign that's with it. So where is it crossing the y-axis? 0, negative 2. X is always 0 when you're on the y-axis. Okay? You could also think of this as b is equal to negative 2. All right? Now let's look at it the other way. Write the equation of a line where they're giving you the slope as negative 4/5 and they're giving you the y-intercept as 0, negative 2. Well, if that's the case, then we know this is our m. And we can look at here in the y-coordinate, our b is negative 2. Just plug them in. Y equals negative 4/5 x minus 2. Just plug in your m and your b and you got it. Okay? All right. Let's look at some other examples. Find the equation. Now, they can give you the line and you pick 2 points off it, or they can give you 2 points. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you both here. Okay? When you're given a graph, try to find 2 points that go right through those little crosshairs there. Okay? You don't want to take something in the middle. You don't want to deal with fractions if you don't have to. Okay? So I'm taking these 2 points here, 0, negative 2, and 1, 0. Now to write the equation, like we just mentioned here, and you got to know m, you got to know b. Okay? Got to know those two. So when we're doing this now, with your m and your b, in our case here, I don't know the slope, so I'm going to find it. I'm going to use the slope equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 0 minus a negative 2, 1 minus 0. You can go the other way if you wanted to, negative 2 minus 0, 0 minus 1. You still get the same answer. We're going to get 2 over 1, because minus a negative is positive. So our slope is 2. Then you can see from the graph that the line crossed the y-axis at negative 2. Bam. Okay, there you go. So then just plug it in. There's my slope, there's my y-intercept. Y equals 2x minus 2. Now what happens when they give us 2 points like this? Okay, like I mentioned up there, we got to find the slope first. So I'm going to take my y2 minus my y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to take negative 8 minus 1. 5 minus 2. I'm going to get negative 9 over 3. That gives me a slope of negative 3. Okay? Now, I don't have a y-intercept that I can pick from here, so I have to find my b. Now I know I have this equation right here. Okay? I know my slope is -3, and I can take one of these 2 points. I'm going to take 2, 1. There's my x, y. Remember I told you earlier, x and y are points on the line? So I'm going to plug in my y, my x, and my m into here, and I'm going to solve for b. You'll see that it's the last thing standing. So -3 times 2 plus b. And just like solving the equations that we did for a long time here, the first couple of months, add your 6 over 7 is equal to your b. So now I know my m, I know my b. I'm just going to plug them in. Okay? And there's the equation of that line. So I was able to take the b off of here because they gave it to me. Here they did not give me the b, so I had to take that slope. And either point, it doesn't matter, you're still going to end up getting 7 for your b. I took 2 and 1, 2 for the x, 1 for the y. I plugged my 1 in for my y, my 2 for my x. There's my m. You multiply them together. mx, 2 letters next to each other means multiply. I get -6, add it over. My b is 7. Okay, so now just m and b. Alright, so there's a couple different ways of looking at, if they give you the slope and the y-intercept, plug them in. If you know the slope and the y-intercept, you can plug them in and find the equation. If you're taking points off a graph, or they give you 2 points, find the slope first, and then you got to find b. If it's not given to you, then find it algebraically. Okay, hopefully that's been helpful. We'll look at more examples of this in class and some application of it. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.